Welcome back to Wake Up Epic. This is a dive into the energy of invention, of rationalization, and of connecting to things that make us feel good. The 24th hexagram, we're going to wake it up with movement, with a few possibility statements, and a final move through the pattern so that you can find the pattern within yourself and wake this up in a way that is unique to you. So first, let's talk about the embodied story. The hexagram, the 24 hexagram, has yin, yin, yin on the top and yang, yin, yin on the bottom. What does that mean for our body? It means we're going to start off by shifting back, down, and narrow into what we call in UZAZU sponge. So back, down, and narrow is a place of focusing on your inner experience. If we just spend a few hours meditating and let the world go, focusing on our inner experience and our awareness, we would be sponging. And anything that doesn't allow you to feel at ease with your inner experience is something to take a look at that might be getting in your way of having a healthier relationship to your inner experience. So sponging. The bottom of the trigram, or the bottom trigram, is yang, yin, yin. So from here, we're going to move forward into this space, not of self, but with others. So we move forward and we stay down and we stay narrow. Arms come forward, attention comes forward. This is bridge. And in bridge, the main idea is to connect. Not to connect and do, but to connect and receive. Connect and have an open space, connect and feel together. Because they're both movements that are down oriented, we're really focusing on the sensation and the support quality here. So try going back into sponge and forward into bridge, but stay low. Back and forth just a couple times to see what that's like. Because the hexagram, the energies, the themes emerge out of how these two modes or these two states of our body and being go together or don't, as the case may be. And just for fun, instead of coming forward and down, come forward and up. So we move then from an inner experience to an action in the world where we're doing something. And I just want you to feel the contrast between moving from inner experience and action and, let's go back to bridge, inner experience and connection. And for a host of reasons, our upbringings, our habits, our karma, we can have a lot of challenges with connecting. And so when we come to the possibility statements, we're going to drop in some language and some perspectives into these movement patterns that allow us to really start catalyzing some change. And this can go pretty deep. I want to bring in two other ideas. The two other ideas are from Gene Keys and Human Design. In Gene Keys, the themes are addiction, the shadow of addiction, the gift of invention, the city or the emergence of silence. So let's take a quick look. And what the heck is addiction? What is invention from the perspective of these movements? Well, let's start back with sponge. So in a world of sponge, in this context of our inner experience is good and safe. And we're then going to make the choice to come forward and connect. From this connection, from this experience we have, we're going back to informing or contributing to our inner experience. So what is an invention? What is necessity, the mother of invention? Your inner experience or the world's inner experience or the potential for inner experience to be better, being informed, being contributed to by connection. So what if the quality of our connections, the connections to ideas, connections to people, connections to the past, to the future, connections. And the way we open to that and receive that then contributes to our inner experience being better. What is technology? Some sort of connections being made, some sort of possibility being actualized so that ideally we feel better. Doesn't always work out that way, but generally speaking, seems to be that's the function of invention. Look at the light bulb, look at the airplane. Connections made, whether it's through insights or engineering or science, that allow us to have a very expanded, elevated, more embodied inner experience. It's better to be here. We're trying to end our suffering. So there's something very, very profound about this hexagram, these patterns, about our suffering and how we're going about alleviating our suffering. So then what the heck is addiction? Inner experience, something's off. I can't have a good experience. I'm telling a story about my inner experience. And then I go make these connections. It's a strong connection. It's a necessary connection. It's a partial connection. And then that is contributing back to our sense of inner experience, likely collectively. So imagine the cycle of not landing these connections. It's not safe to connect to what could potentially make your inner experience feel better. So one of the things I woke up this morning was some of my own limitation in relationship to winning. Winning, is it safe to win? No, bad. And following that rabbit hole of what does it mean to win, for me, brought up all sorts of like, it's unfair to win, there's privilege I'm taking from people, all this litany of stuff that goes back to when I was a kid. How bad it was to be the first chair in the orchestra or to be the top martial artist in school, and just how bad I felt. And so this addiction then, instead, to being a loser, to sacrificing, to being a martyr, to giving things up. And yet none of that is helping my inner experience. None of that is helping anyone else's inner experience, not really. So we want to look at where for us, where for you individually, is it not okay to connect to things that make you feel better, just fundamentally? And how can we start to change those patterns in a way that suits you better? So what we'll do now is spend 1 minute in 8 different ways. First minute, we're going to touch addiction. Next minute, we'll touch invention. Then the next 4, I'm going to bring in the 4 possibility statements. So we're going from body into a bit more mind and consciousness. And then the final minute, the 8th minute, will just be pure silence. And then we'll say, we'll check in, we'll reflect, and we'll say goodbye. That'll be our wake up epic for today. Okay, so here we go. Note for the instruction, you cannot do this wrong. All we're doing is moving from sponge to bridge while noticing your experience as we drop in these words and possibilities. Here we go. Start in a relaxed, neutral place and shift back into a sponge, back down, narrow, let go of the world, bring your attention to you and your body, and say the word addiction. Notice your inner experience when you say that word addiction. Take the time to come forward, open your eyes, come forward into bridge, to step into the space and state of connecting. Addiction. Back to sponge. And back to bridge. So when we combine sponge and bridge, and we bring our attention to addiction, if anything comes up in your awareness, fine. If you just feel, that's great. Just stay present. Next, let's drop in invention. the invention that's possible by connecting and contributing to inner experience. How are you an inventor? And what is it that you continually love to invent? Right now, you're inventing a new experience for yourself. Now, repeat after me with these 4 statements. We'll do one at a time per minute. I feel safe and good. I can feel safe and good by connecting with things that bring me pleasure. And movement-wise, just keep moving from bridge to sponge, feeling fully. I can feel safe and good connecting with things that bring me pleasure. If your body tells you, hey, I want to stop and be here for a moment, go ahead and just stop. Honor your body more and more and more through this process. Next possibility. I can seek out the things and the people that help bring me good feelings. I can seek out the things and the people that help bring me good feelings. If there's any effort happening in your body, see what you can do to relax and receive more. Our fourth possibility, the third possibility. I can connect with things that inspire and enliven me. Find it in bridge. I can connect the things, the ideas, the objects in consciousness that inspire and enliven me. If there's any patterns you're noticing, any common themes, pay attention to them and just have more compassion. Our last possibility statement. I can connect with everything that helps me feel better. I can connect with anything that helps me feel better. And for our last minute of silence, move in a way that honors anywhere that you might get stuck in the flow of it, and move in such a way that honors the flow that wants to happen. Let the fun, let the practice and the flow go. And look around the space. Tell a new story that matches your capacity to seek, to find, to use, to receive the things that make you feel better. Like, let yourself witness that's already true for you. And while there might be more to grow, practice, it's already in you, and it's already happening. Because we opened your awareness to these themes and worked with the patterns of it, it's very, very likely in the coming hours and days, you'll notice a lot of related themes. A lot of pieces of your life that are like, yes, I can reach out to stuff that makes me feel better. I can pursue it. I can make it happen. I can win. All the different things in real life that are a match for this fundamental pattern that you just lost. So well done. We'll take a minute to bring this experience into some language. So consider, what's the takeaway? What's your already immediate takeaway, your lesson, your insight, or just anything you noticed? So for example, I really noticed a stuckness moving like right in the middle. And I also noticed sometimes my eyes were open in sponge and then closed in bridge, which is kind of like saying, I'm not okay fully being in my inner experience because I'm going to keep my eyes open. And over here with you, I'm going to have to close my eyes a bit. That's an interesting pattern. And so we want to look at any of those embodied patterns that show up. Have compassion because it has so much wisdom to teach us. So any shares you want, write them down, or Alexandra, you're in class with me. So if you'd like to share anything.
Well, it was very obvious to me what a core issue as it relates to this is safety. There's definitely a sense of danger on both sides of this movement. And it's fascinating. It's really, really interesting. I mean, seemingly seems so innocuous, yet why would it not be safe to go to either one of these? So quite interesting. And then, of course, this is why we have pets, because my cat had no problem coming up and saying, you want to connect with what brings me pleasure? Scratch my back. They teach us really well. They have no problem with it. It's like whenever there's an opportunity, it's like, okay.
That's such a great example and lesson. It was wonderful to see your cat, and thanks for expressing that part of it.
Yeah, they're great teachers.
Fantastic. So, so for everybody watching this at any point in time in history, know that we open these doors and then we start to notice, and that's the growth of our awareness. So play that game, because the more you can acknowledge, the more you can play that game of owning, acknowledging, and continuing, then the less we have to feel like we're fixing ourselves because we're not existentially broken, and yet we're so relatively fucked up. So we want the both. I want the both of that existential perfection, that absolute perfection. the beauty, the goodness, the trueness that just wants to come through you. And stuff needs to get done in this world, and there's suffering. So perfect for all that. So thanks for waking up, Epic. Thanks for being epic. That's part of magic. And have a fantastic day until I see you in the next Wake Up Epic.